So I have this question on how often should PMs and especially founder turned PMs like you should look up at product strategy and constantly like revisit this, because I feel like the rate at which we are building these days is no longer going by the playbook, but it's like rewriting the complete playbook, and at times it's not even a play or a book, it's just like trying to just go with the whole flow. So what would you suggest doing when the markets are just going berserk and you're like, hey, like this is what we have to do when this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are in this time where there's really never been anything equivalent to this. I think people are talking about this being equivalent to like when the web was introduced, or like things were going online, or when like with mobile phones and things going mobile first. And I think that the one distinguishing difference between that time and what we're seeing right now is that every one of those changes required people to procure some hardware to be able to actually benefit from the change. And so people had to go and get an iPhone and ultimately get an Android phone. Before that, had to be able to get online. Now we have this AI change, and obviously the technology is changing at a fast pace, and it's going to continue changing at a much faster pace just because the technology is amplifying itself, right? So like the AI is getting more powerful, then the AI is going to make the AI, and like that's going to move even faster, right? So there's that. But then on the other side is kind of the human adoption of the technology, and the difference there is that with like specifically looking at ChatGPT was sort of like the big change where like lots of people were using GPT-3 powered products before, but I think the really big change was when everyone started using ChatGPT over just like the first month. And that was just like it was a free web product that you could just sign up and start using, right? So it was just like so different from any one big technological change that had previously happened, and it was available in 100 plus languages. Everyone could talk to it. There was no barrier. Young people could do it, old people could do it, people could do it in their own language at their own time. It was no localization was needed, right? So it's just like suddenly this complete rapid change in how people interacted with the world and thought about the world. And so now all of these individuals who previously would have taken some time to become mobile first, now they've become AI first in almost instantly. My point with this is that there's the technology is changing really rapidly. The human behavior is changing really rapidly. And as a result, as a product builder, you kind of need to revisit your assumptions constantly. I do think that like if you have a vision in mind for your product, that vision probably conceptually will stay true through all of those changes. Like for us, it's kind of like, the copilot for product builders to help them build better products. That's going to be the case for as long as there's product builders building products, right? Maybe even super intelligence there isn't, but who knows? But until we get to that point, that's going to be still the truth. But what the physical form of our product, like what the look and feel of our product's going to be, will very much depend on how people interact with AI over time. And that could be very different in like a year from now, but even in just like 6 months from now, it could be that actually everyone interacts with their tools through ChatGPT and everything's a plugin, right? For example, it doesn't have to, we do have a plugin for that reason, but it could also just be something very different, right? Like it could be kind of more of a per type experience where you're interacting with various agents that are doing things on your behalf. And so I think as a product manager, you have to as a product manager or entrepreneur, you have to revisit what is my product in this world today when people are interacting with technology in this way. What should my product do? And then similarly revisit it probably on a weekly or monthly basis and see, are my assumptions still correct? Is it moving in a different direction? It just means that you end up building in a slightly different way. I think it means that you have to build everything a little bit more rapid iteration, of course, but also doing everything kind of more in an MVP way, be heavily focused on sort of more API where you're looking at the actual user experience a little bit more open-ended, where you can change the user experience faster, but the core of the product is sort of there. So I think there's just like some ways to adjust for this new reality where both kind of behavior and technology is changing rapidly.
No,